Hello everybody and welcome to this round of 8 of Alpha X Apprentice Code A. Today we're gonna have 2 games ready for you, 2 best of 5s of the 4 players who were unlucky enough to not be placed in the first 2 of each group during the group stage of Alpha X Apprentice. We're gonna have Kingslayer versus Dominant and Mage versus Blakes. So we're gonna have some very tough players, some very good players, and so the results of course are already here. We're casting from replays, but this will be the last cast from replays of the whole Alpha X Apprentice. Tomorrow we're gonna have the first live casting for semi-finals of Code S, and I hope you're gonna have the semi-finals of Code A scheduled soon enough. So well, thank you Sniper for the bits, by the way. Thank you very much. And let's not delve more into just talking. We're here for some StarCraft. I'm here for some StarCraft. I'm a contestant. I'll be your caster for today. And we have our first game at the ready. The first map for this round of 8 for each match is gonna be World of Sleepers, and it is for this game as well. Kingslayer versus Ro8. Game 1 on World of Sleepers. We're talking about the Protoss versus Zerg. So many players are having some issues with this matchup. People are saying every game is too similar to one another. People are saying that basically Zerg players have too much of an advantage going into late game, but Protoss players have shown to have quite some good strategies, both defensively and offensively, especially in the mid game. The mid game for Protoss versus Zerg in the current meta is basically having a powerhouse of Immortal Archon charge loads and just roll onwards basically after doing enough damage. But let's see what it's gonna be for this game. Yeah, the worst thing of all is that there is no music when you're casting from an old replay. Aside from having to just log in and log out every time I'm loading a replay. But, well, it's StarCraft, so yeah, I love my job. You got it. Oh, it's taking a while. Or maybe it's a big replay. Or maybe my computer is not a good computer. Who knows? Here we are finally spawning in the bottom left hand corner of World of Sleepers. It is the light beam Protoss player. It is Kingslayer. Spawning instead in the top right hand corner as the blue Zerg. It is Ro8. So Ro8 went out in the group stage as the 3rd place after losing to his Carnation on Token in a very unlucky best of 5 series. Of course Token played that series out of his mind, but Ro8 showed to be quite a powerful opponent for everybody, having also given a walkover to Asuna, unluckily. So he's probably coming into this as one of the favorites for getting into the finals at least of Code A playoffs. But on the other side we have a very powerful Protoss in Kingslayer, someone that has not been able to completely show his skills. He had a rough time actually against Exit Striker and Last Surprise, if I remember correctly. And I think he actually was eliminated of the group stage having won only 1 map, so he's the last seeded player of this tournament. But counting him off would be a terrible mistake. Kingslayer, very strong player, very versatile player, and I think he is gonna show us something very good in the next series. let's see if he's able to take on the probably the favorite of the Code A playoffs, Damrud. Both players going into something very standard up until now. Damrud not a fan of going with an early pull, as well as Kingslayer, who just likes to macro it out, get a target as he does this game, and just be on the aggression when the time asks him to do so. With probably no 3 Oracle Phoenix build, the most standard out of the build for PvC at the moment. Damrud has his 4 links out, 2 queens almost out. He's gonna have everything he needs to handle the double attack pressure that's coming at him. The problem for the Zerg with this build is that he's gonna be able to attack with 2 adepts on one base and an oracle on the other base. So Damrud has to be very careful with spreading his queens or his links. Otherwise he's gonna get dealt a little bit too much damage, especially if his portfolios won't be ready. But I think they will be ready. Kingslayer went for a Phoenix first to deny most scouting as possible. Meanwhile, Kingslayer diving the double adepts into the main, but cancels the shade to find some very juicy drone kills. 4 are going down, and right now Kingslayer doesn't look like he's done for. He wants the shade into the main, the shade actually completes, and probably at least 1 more drone is falling downward, not able to save his drone. 2 drones more are falling, and just 6 drones have fallen to 2 adepts. Immediate Twala Council dropped by Kingslayer. It's looking very strong right now, not getting oracles out yet. Meanwhile, Damrud just having dropped his Ro8 Warren, playing at the most standard of his capabilities as well. His 4 cores dropped by the Zerg player as well. Meanwhile, he's not getting a Bailey nest yet. He probably wants to go for a big Ro8 Ravager pull until the time asks him to get a Bailey nest in the later stage of the game to counter Zealot. But I don't know if that will be the case, because we have Resonating Blades in research for Kingslayer. He wants to go for a very strong early push with a lot of adepts. Warp Prism is gonna be coming out of this robotics facility soon enough. But Kingslayer doesn't look like he wants to stop the aggression yet. He has his Phoenix Shark in the map, avoiding any scouting misses and overload though. Meanwhile, he's sending 6 adepts and an oracle through the map, keeping producing adepts. He's gonna send Warp Prism out soon enough, and that is not a full wall of for Damrud. He's still gonna let these adepts inside, shading into the main, and now a lot of damage is gonna be dealt by Kingslayer, who misses a little bit of micro potential attacking that extractor. Meanwhile, the oracle very low on health, cancelling all the Evo chambers after not being able to get the wall off. But these roaches forcing the recall for the adepts. The supply for Kingslayer though very high in army. Look at how many adepts he has currently produced. 12 adepts, 1 Phoenix, 1 Oracle. He's producing Immortals at the moment. He doesn't have a Warp Prism out yet. But Damrud really behind him, both on workers and in army supply. And I'm not too sure if he's gonna be able to hold these many adepts with what he has at the moment. A little bit of actually he's not manning from the main yet since the Oracle was there. And he was actually Resonating Blades is over by the way, but the real problem for Damrud was a big supply block that has hit him. And right now, these many adepts can take care of these many roaches and links quite easily. This archery is not going to fall. Clutch transfuses by the Queens of Damrud. But right now, Kingslayer cancels the shade and decides to commit on top of the archer before shading away after getting as many units as he can possibly can. It takes 2 volleys for each and every one of these adepts to kill just one roach, and that's the big problem for Kingslayer, who's sending sentries and immortals to solve this issue. This is a lot of sentries, a lot of adepts, a lot of immortals. The army of Kingslayer is very deadly. The one of Damrud isn't at all at the moment. Without failings to just deal splash damage to these big ball sentries and adepts, these roaches are gonna easily fall to the immortals being very easily shielded by the rest of Kingslayer's units. Very solid macro play by our Protoss player, who has been ahead in worker for the full duration of the game, while still being able to actually deal an astounding amount of damage to his opponents with a very aggressive build. Right now Damrud is preparing his last push. He stopped producing drones a lot of time ago. He's trying to get as much units as possible to close this game. He's getting a third archery, probably just for lava. And he tried to snipe the Phoenix, but almost killed one of his roaches. Yeah, that tried to shade on top of the Ravagers behind the lines of roaches. They managed to do so. The Immortals are a little bit vulnerable, but Kingslayer basically has too much, and Damrud calls the GG. A Protoss player, the underdog into this match, takes game 1 of the series with a very strong push, I say. But let's see if Damrud comes more prepared into game 2. Of course, the first thing that is gonna decide the strategy of our third player is gonna be the choice of the map. And at this point, I think that Damrud is probably going to choose for the longest map possible, to just try to play at his best possible capabilities, that are those of a late game zero player, just getting to the very comfortable powerful late game units. But he has not shied off of actually doing something more cheesy time to time, so he could also be metagaming his opponent. And we will see as soon as my game decides to load up after loading an old replay, because he has to start back every time. And yeah, that's why we are gonna play all the next games live, so that we at least don't have this issue ahead of us. Oh, finally. I hope, at least. This game gives a lot of headaches when you load an old replay. Like, a lot. Especially if it's the first time you load the game today. Hey, don't judge me. I've been watching BlizzCon. I can watch it at 5 AM every day, so I've just been lurking in the VOD. And well, I at least watch the last game. No spoilers. Let's see instead. Game 2 on Ephemeron. It's gonna be the choice of Damrud. Very short map. So, very good map for aggression as well for Zerg. Let's see what's gonna be the choice of our Zerg player in this map. Meanwhile, I remember you, the next series will be Mage versus Blisk. So we're gonna have 2 ZVP today. Yesterday we had 2 Protoss versus Terrans. And today we're gonna have 2 Zerg versus Protoss. So no ZVZ. And no mirror matchup at all, actually. No ZVT as well, and that's the true disappointment. But we're gonna find one in the semi-finals tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. It's gonna be Asta versus Token, if you don't know. Actually, let's get back to this game. Spawning in the top left hand corner as the blue Zerg, it is Damrud. Spawning instead in the bottom right hand corner. It is the light pink Protoss player. It is Kingslayer. Well, doesn't look like Damrud is going for anything too cheeky. Meanwhile, Kingslayer probably going to gateway expand and start to scout for anything cheesy. What is this? Coming from his opponent. Big FPS drop, by the way. So it doesn't look like Damrud is actually playing the map, not Kingslayer as well. It is just a very standard opener for both players. Kingslayer is gonna find out soon enough that nothing cheeky is coming out of Damrud base, and he's gonna try to get his Nexus soon after the gateway without actually dropping a cybernetics core first. And here it is, gateway expand, standard build. Here is the cybernetics core gonna drop very soon. So, what is the plan of those two players coming into this game? Of course, as I said, Damrud basically has two choices at this point. Either he goes for something really aggressive in the next couple minutes, either it just plays the perfect defensive game and get to the later stage of Zerg power us late game. But I think that knowing Damrud, of course he likes to macro it out and stuff like that. But yeah, already building 6 lanes to one couple more than you actually should. He's pulling all of the drones off gas. He's definitely going for something very aggressive. Actually, I'd say he's almost committing to an all-in of mass Zerglings. Meanwhile, Kingslayer reaction is a Stargate. He needs a lot of shield batteries, he needs a lot of boom micro with his probe to hold this, and I'm not sure if just one Oracle is gonna be able to effectively kill a link rush like this. Damrud on top of his injects as well, link speed halfway through. These adepts, actually this adept is seeing a lot of links coming through the map, but these links are already hacking at the pylon, and Kingslayer placing the second pylon, it is probably going to be cancelled as well as soon as those links keep on knocking at it. And this one, it is gonna fall, and right now the adept is the prey of those Zerglings. Kingslayer pulling some of his probes, but even those are probably going to fall. The gateways are gonna be powered back again. Actually, the gateway is not powered. Those pylons are a little bit too far. The shield battery gets placed, but those probes are gonna die way faster than those shield batteries can come up. The wall is back again, but it's made of 2 pylons, and Damrud just doesn't stop sending links to the map. Woodgate is gonna get cancelled. Meanwhile, Kingslayer not getting a single unit out of his target. And oh gosh, the wall is not a wall, and that's the biggest issue for Kingslayer that otherwise would have had a very strong hold. But this wall is open, a lot of links sneak inside, and this is a disaster for Kingslayer. A very small slip of micro is gonna cost him every single one of his probes. Right now he only has 11 workers, 40 supply to 16. A GG is gonna get called soon, and Damrud ties the series with a lean rush. Well, it looks like after all Damrud had in mind something very aggressive, and I really like that he actually masked his intentions with a pretty standard open. Of course, most Protoss players have faced a 15-14 lane rush more than once in their lifetime, and they are able to actually read the call for that. But if you just go for the absolutely standard build and then you just pull drones of gas, there are less chances that the top Protoss player is going to expect actually you for a link rush and not going for something more comfortable, since he's gonna eat a little bit too late. And of course, Kingslayer not getting the Oracle and committing into his defense a little bit too much without having a proper wall. All a little bit of slight mistakes, letting those lanes in, and everything that just keep on adding up after not playing an awful defense. On the contrary, Kingslayer had a very good defense, but just that one small error cost him the game. If he could get an Oracle out with that wall being completed, those adepts keeping one-shotting lane after lane, I think that would have been a hold. But StarCraft is not a game of ifs, so Damrud has tied up the series, and those players are going into Game 3 with a score of 1-1. Game 3 is gonna be on Acropolis, and right here we're gonna see probably something a little less aggressive from both players. Acropolis, of course, a very easy map to defend on the first 3 bases. You have a ramp, you actually have 2 ramps, but actually 3 ramps that are very easy to defend. 2 big choke points, and especially the natural is very easy to defend, especially for a Protoss player. And I think that that is gonna be the name of this game. It's gonna be defense, and let's see who's the player who's gonna get on the aggression first. It is probably going to be Kingslayer. In the current meta, you can't just let Zerg feel too comfortable on late game. So I think that he's gonna go for a mid-game strong push of Archon, Chargelot, Immortal. But that is a very blind guess. And if you want to know what is in his mind, you have to ask him. In the bottom right hand corner, as a light pink Protoss, it is Kingslayer. Spawning instead in the top left hand corner, as the blue Zerg player, it is Damrud. Very well, unless Damrud is masking another standard opener. I don't think those drones are rallied to the natural yet. Oh. Well, it is a 16 hatch. You can get a block with a Phantom Scout if you don't go for a 16 hatch. But, well, not a lot of Protoss players go for Phantom Scout nowadays. And Kingslayer actually doesn't like to probe scout at all if you can avoid it. He's probably gonna go for a scout after he's gonna place his cybernetic score, and he's just gonna see with the adept what's coming at him. I mean, he actually did scout the game before, and he saw the link rush just with the adept, not with the probe, so he probably feels like his probe scout isn't like the best possible option right now. Of course, many Protoss will not agree with him, but that's just his way of playing. He's gonna scout after cybernetic score, as I foresee, and he's not gonna find anything cheesy again from Damrud, unless he pulls drones out of gas again, but I don't think that will be the case. I'm not talking about players that just do the same thing twice in a row. At least not in a game just after the one he just link rushed. So we have 4 links and 2 queens. That's already a call of Damrud not actually trying to rush his opponent. Is music a little bit too low? Or just everything a little bit too low? Let's look. Let's keep it like that. Anyway, Damrud not pulling a single drone out of gas actually. I don't know if that is for an Nobla speed follow-up, if he just forgot, or if he's going for an early lair. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, Kingslayer drops his Twilight Console, still doesn't have a full wall. So if Damrud decides to send his link, okay, it is for overload speed follow-up, and then he's gonna pull the drones out of gas. So Damrud just playing it very safe, getting ready to get a big scout with this Overlord. And that is gonna be very, very useful for keeping him alive. And gosh, this is indeed an Archon drop by Kingslayer. He's probably gonna get completely scouted by Damrud. No Stalker, no Sentry out. Very, very greedy play by Kingslayer, who didn't get any of the Scout Denial units. He didn't get any of his own scouting units, or Stew Adepts are just sitting there not getting any shit for the map to deal some damage. And Damrud is gonna find out everything that's going on for Kingslayer at the moment, sending a few of his links into the role of Kingslayer just to avoid the Protoss player from expanding. And he's getting a lot of drones as well, a lot of gas, a lot of queens. He needs to drop those Spore Crawlers very, very soon. And his lair is not gonna be ready before... yeah, he's gonna be starting in that immediately probably. Roach Warren started as well. Damrud, start your lair. Okay, started in the natural. And right now, Damrud keeps on scouting for the War Prism to move out. He catches the hero unit of Protoss moving out, and he's gonna drop Spore Crawlers. Drop the damn Spore Crawlers, Damrud. You saw a Dark Shrine. Here they are. They're gonna be slightly late to the party. Or maybe not actually. Still have to actually work those Dark Templars in. They are going to be slightly late to the party, but not by that far of a margin. I don't think that Kingslayer can dive on top of that without losing some stuff. The Spore Crawler is out, and right now Damrud gets us around one of the Dark Templars, actually killing one. And this is not a very good trade. One Queen for one Dark Templar, not the best trade here in the main base of Damrud. Drones are trying to fight this single Dark Templar that is gonna get 4 kills, but once again, this Dark Templar drop has not been very powerful for Kingslayer, who's already at the ready for getting his double Archon drop and deal some damage this way. This Dark Templar hiding, actually, looking for a 4th hatch. Not gonna find one, just one Archon is the choice of Kingslayer. Apparently, he just wants to keep sending Dark Templars doing damage. But right now, Damrud sees the Dark Templar.
Your forces are under attack.
Oh gosh, Damrud, do you really have Diva as your answer? That is disgusting. 4 drones actually falling down. 1 more Dark Templar. So overall, 8 drone kills. Not too shabby for a Protoss player who's still gonna deal some damage, having stack, and he probably can place his Burn Nexus very soon. Meanwhile, Damrud killing 3 Dark Templars, actually 2 Dark Templars, actually 3 Dark Templars. That's a lot of gas being spent by Kingslayer for getting that drone damage. And right now Kingslayer has a worker lead, but doesn't have an income lead since he has 1 less base than his opponent. Meanwhile, a Protoss player trying to get a full scout of the base of the Zerg player, getting his Burn Nexus, getting charge, getting +1 round weapons. And Damrud has a very powerful army moving through the map, and upgrades are not there yet for the Protoss player, who's also not paying a lot of attention to the map at the moment. Damrud has basically disordered here for the past 10 minutes or so, and the game just started by 7. And right now, the third player dies on top of the Nexus that has to be cancelled. Archons on links. Meanwhile, Immortals are trying to focus fire down those roaches, but these are a lot of Ravagers. This player is gonna eventually be able to shoot the army of his opponent away, but at what cost? A lot of Sentries, a lot of Archons, and 1 Nexus have been denied by Damrud, who's still making units. Meanwhile, Kingslayer ready with his switch, Templar Archives at the ready to get that storm out and defeat this army. Meanwhile, I don't see a painliness for Damrud. I don't necessarily hate this choice, by the Zero player, who's just wanting to get more Ravagers out and just break through his opponent without having to micro too many banings. I don't see a lot of Zealots out yet for Kingslayer, so I don't necessarily hate the choice of going for a Hydrali stand instead of a Baneling Nest. But Damrud has to make something happen. He's not been making workers for a lot of time. He's now dropping 8 of them, but these upgrades are not there. Kingslayer already has his +1 at the ready. A lot of workers at the ready. He's gonna have his third Nexus out soon enough. And Kingslayer is getting in a pretty comfortable position. Damrud has to make something happen right now. Lurker then, very bold choice by our Zerg player. Huge commitment into doing damage. 12 more drones in production. The Lurker then is not gonna be ready for a lot of time though, and Kingslayer has to get some scouting done and prepare his answer. Is there gonna be Colossi or more Immortals out? Those Zealots are gonna be facing a mid grinder if they're not too careful around those Lurkers. 2 hallucinated Phoenix trying to look for something off for Damrud. They're gonna go right into the main base. Oh gosh. And actually Kingslayer is gonna see a building being dropped here by Damrud, but I don't know if he actually saw it was a Lurker then. Kingslayer decides to move out. I think it's a very good choice right now. He has a powerful army, he has a lot of Immortals out. Meanwhile, Damrud just doesn't have the tech out yet. He has his first Hydra's out. Lurker then almost finished. Ranger weapon halfway through. But Kingslayer has a very, very scary army. 6 Immortals out, and he's gonna eat a lot of vials actually. Not paying close attention to what's happening. Storm not out yet, but 8 Zealots into the main. His army is a distraction. The Zealots in the main are the true bulk of the push of Kingslayer. We're still gonna have a lot of Immortals dealing damage for him, and I think he's gonna eventually win this fight. Lurkers are out, not a single observer is, but this one over here is the only one who finds himself able to burrow down. The rest of the units are died for Damrud, so there is no way he can potentially clear this Zealot run by. Birdie drones were fallen down, and right now Kingslayer gets the match point in this best of 5 series. Just doing everything slightly better than his opponent, I'd say. Damrud not really preparing for a push by his opponent, not having his tech in time, and there is a reason why most players are going Baneling Nest at this stage of the game instead of going for Lurkers, and the reason is you can find yourself being swarmed by a lot of Zealots very, very fast, and Zealots don't actually fall down easily. So probably just a little bit of a wrong decision making by the third player, who was playing, of course, a very proactive game. Decided to end the game rather quickly after having dealt a lot of damage to the economy of the Protoss player by denying the third Nexus for a lot of time, but still not getting like the finisher move was the fault of Damrud, who just went a little bit too fancy Lurker then probably, and he just needed the Baneling Nest down at that spot. Of course, the Lurker then is also a very powerful defensive choice, but I don't think he was expecting necessarily a very powerful attack in the next minutes. Also, very good reaction by Kingslayer, actually making a lot of Immortals. But let's see what is gonna happen on game 4. Is Kingslayer gonna be able to close out the series, or will Damrud bring this best of 5 to game 5? The map it is Thunderbird, and we're gonna see who between those two players is gonna advance to the next stage. Maybe this game, is it gonna be Kingslayer, or is there gonna be a game number 5? find out as soon as StarCraft decides to load the replay. Here we are, Thunderbird. I don't know what this planet is. Is this Shakura's, like, for real? I don't think it is. Isn't Shakura's like more bluey or something like that? And this looks pretty green. It actually looks like snowy, it looks like Roxas. It doesn't look like Shakura's at all. Or is it like a moon eclipsing something? I don't think so. The light comes from here. Well, spawning in the bottom right. Whoa, Thunderbird, what are you doing? Spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Thunderbird, it is the Blue Zerg. Thunderbird. I think I just added the worst introduction ever to a player. I'm sorry, Thunderbird. Spawning instead in the top left hand corner, of course I have also Discord wrong. Spawning in the top left hand corner is instead the light beamed Protoss player. He is at match point and he is Kingslayer. This one was better. Gateway expand, Gateway scout for Kingslayer. Meanwhile, Damrud going for his 17 hatch play. Thunderbird actually allows you to get a 17 hatch without having to worry for a hatch block with a Pylon Scout. But nonetheless, Kingslayer just went for a very standard Gateway Scout. And I don't see anything too off coming out of Damrud as well. So, Thunderbird is also a meta map. Since it's so hard to cheese on this map, a lot of players are actually cheesing on it, just because it is not a cheese map, if you understand what I mean. So, Kingslayer not gonna find anything out for the moment, and he's just gonna keep his probe alive to check for a third base, or just go for a follow-up scouting. Kingslayer dropping now his cybernetic score is gonna decide to wall off his natural and not the ramp. Not that it makes a lot of difference as a poor choice, it makes you less vulnerable to Nidus, since otherwise you could just Nidus here if the ramp is walled off like this. And that's basically an instant win to anyone that is below Grandmaster probably. But it also makes it slightly harder to hold link rushes. Meanwhile, Damrud just droning it up, and it's a target being dropped by Kingslayer. Who's also gonna complete his wall up very soon. His death is almost out as well. And right now, Kingslayer, oh, actually doesn't roll off yet. Oh, this is an early lair by Damrud, a very early one. And he's sending an overlord over here. I talked about it, and that's what I smell. Damrud going for a Nidus play with a couple of roaches and a lot of queens. Against an Oracle play, very, very powerful unless the Phoenix can find out all of the overlords. But Kingslayer is not really expecting this, it looks like. While Damrud banking up that gas he needs to drop the Nidus network, 100 and 150 needed to drop down the Nidus network, and he's probably gonna do so immediately. Not a very good pylon placement over here. Damrud is probably going to place that Nidus uncontested very soon. Nidus, here it is, placed next to this Roach Warren. The Oracle is out, but actually Kingslayer is waiting for more Oracles to pop out and deal some serious damage. This is stats build, so he's not gonna have a Phoenix out soon. He's gonna have more energy to deal with the Nidus, but the true problem is that he's not gonna see them probably. He's not placing any pylon to the edge of his base. There's like this very strong wall at the front, but that's not what you should be afraid of. These Nidus were There are a lot of queens, a lot of roaches, a lot of everything. And it's just slightly... Oh gosh, he's not even seeing the overload, and the knight goes up. 4 queens inside, a lot of roaches, a couple links, and right now all those units are hacking at the pylons. Meanwhile the links find out what's in the base of Kingslayer. 3 Oracle just sitting there. Kingslayer, not the best reaction by our Protoss player, but just maybe feeling a little bit sad about his knight swarm going up into his base. He has 4 oracles. He could dive on top of the beast. He was actually waiting for that 4th oracle to come out, but this is a lot of transfuses. 1 oracle is pulled back. The second one is gonna fall instead. And right now, the beasts are probably going to fall. But is there enough energy for the oracle to end the business? 3. Oh gosh, 11 energy. This one is not gonna die. But 22 probes are definitely going to kill Stalkers, and 2 Zealots trying to fight down those roaches, but these are a lot of roaches and those oracles are out of energy. Damrud ties up the series. We're going into game 5. And Nidus, very strong play on Thunderbird. Not a common map, very easy to defend on 3 bases. But anything that can blindside your opponent can become quite tricky to hold, and especially Nidus play on such a large 3 bases map as Thunderbird. It's very hard to hold. Anything that has a very long distance between your main and your natural, and a big platform for your main, or just a very exposed 3rd. It's just calling for Nidus most of the time. And Thunderbird, in this case, in the house for a very powerful Nidus play for Damrud. But right now, our third player has won 2 games with 2 cheeses. Meanwhile, the macro games have been won by our Protoss player. So he could still feel pretty confident coming into this game 5 if he actually gets his defenses straight. And I'm just curious, what are we about to see? The map is Disco Bloodbath, and let's see if Kingslayer is able to advance at surprise to the next stage of the Code A playoff, or if is Damrud, the absolute favorite, going to get to the semifinals. Whatever happens, we're gonna have the names of our first semi-finals. The winner of this match is gonna play Last Surprise, if I remember correctly. But let's get into the game. Spawning in the right hand side of Disco Bloodbath, it is Kingslayer. Spawning instead with an early pull in the left side of Disco Bloodbath is the Blue Zerg. He is Damrud. Do you like it better like that or like that? Anyway, early pull for Damrud. And this looks like a gasless build. It's not looking like it wants to get a gas out yet. So it's just a 12 pull, it's fun. This it basically has 3 purposes. First one, making your opponent panic. Second one, trying to force units out. And third one, preparing yourself for an all-in, because you can sneak a lot of workers for free while bringing up the pressure to your opponent base. And you probably don't expect anything too cheesy coming from your opponent. Sorry, anything too aggressive coming out from your opponent as soon as he's able to deflect your top pull, because it's probably gonna feel pretty much ahead in the series, sorry, in the game. But 12 pool on Disco Bloodbath, you have a very, very narrow path leading to the natural on this map. A very unique map, like the natural very easily defensible, the main not so much in so many droppable position. But once you get a fur base, either you get an aggressive fur base that can become insanely open once those rocks have been broken, or you can get a fur base that is instead a choke point, very powerful choke point, or a very open area once again. The links come inside, very well scattered by King Slayer as well, who drops the gateway out in time, but the Zealots gets the run there, and that is a very free kill for Damrud at this point of the game. Here dropping a ship battery, he's dropping a lot of stuff at once. Of course the reaction has been good, but he's been also a little bit eager to put stuff down. His cybernetic score is indeed going to fall, and Damrud is probably going to get away with his victory. Actually he's trying to force more stuff from his opponent. He could have sent less the other part of the links to this other island, and that will have been 100% a broken wall. Like he couldn't replace like this and this at the same time. Like you have to place 3 buildings to block this if this island gets broken. So a little bit of a misplay for Damrud, who was about to win that game with just a 12-pool expand. Kingslayer overreacting a little bit, meanwhile he's making a ton of adepts, so he wants to deal some blows back. But at this point, Damrud should probably start taking his gases and start dropping his Roach Warren. He has a lot of workers going for him, and here it is. Double gas being taken by Damrud. He has Queens out, so those adepts not gonna have an easy time killing drones, and he's just sneaking more and more drones out. Squeezing constantly. He's gonna be on 2 base, complete saturation exception maybe for 2 gases in the main. Just mining a lot of gas, a lot of minerals. He's not dropping his stack yet. Probably wants to have alert ready in case this is a Dark Shrine play. But it's gonna be 6 adepts out very, very soon. No Twilight Council for Kingslayer, so these adepts are unupgraded adepts. So they will not have resonating blades at the ready. Big supply block for Kingslayer. Meanwhile, Damrud has Overlord's eyes everywhere. He's gonna see those 6 adepts moving out. He has his fur base being dropped, the lair being dropped, the watch warrior being dropped. He's looking very solid and in the lead of this game. I don't see those 6 adepts dealing an astounding amount of damage to Damrud at this point. At least not dealing as much damage as he has been dealt. Right now, Damrud trying to find the complete wall. He doesn't manage to do so by quite a far margin, but those adepts are gonna find just a couple of drones because the reaction of Damrud is very, very good at the moment. 4 drones falling down, 1 more shade out of the base of the third player. 1 queen is gonna fall, so 4 queens and 4 drones and 1 queen are gonna be the damage dealt by those adepts who are not stopping just yet. Everything is in the natural for Damrud. Kingslayer is instead trying to shade into the main. He loses 1 adept. He's gonna get a couple drones, but not a lot of stuff is gonna be done by those adepts who find themselves also in quite a rough spot. At least 1 of them is gonna fall, and it is 2 more going to fall down. Meanwhile, Kingslayer is back into the worker lead. But Damrud doesn't really want to squeeze more workers out yet. He cancelled his fur bait and is definitely preparing for something very, very aggressive. He isn't making any drones at the moment. He's just making roaches, Goliath reconstitution on the way, and an overseer as well. Just in case it's gonna be Dark Templars, or is he just going to try and kill these fully against sentries? Very clever play by Damrud, sorry. Meanwhile, Kingslayer has his sentry out, has 2 mortars out. He can deflect a lot of roaches if he's able to place good force fields placing Ravagers out of the fight for quite some time, not letting them pile on top of Immortal. And Templar Archer is already being dropped by Kingslayer. It feels like a little bit of a tech crush at the moment. You probably just need a couple more units out. His +1 ground upgrade is done. And this is not a lot of units for Damrud, who's just trying to break the wall at the moment. The shield battery is down. One pretty good force field is gonna force the Lynx to die, but there is not much more being taken by Kingslayer at the moment. His Overseer allows for a very easy pylon snipe with those piles. Damrud is keeping on making roaches, but I don't see Kingslayer falling easily on 4 Immortals and these many Zealots. Charge is almost done as well, and Kingslayer has 6 8 plates. So this push feels a little bit late. Like once again, probably Baneliness would have been a very powerful addition to this, but it's just roaches. And the ramp is very short, but right now Kingslayer decides to move a little bit too forward, loses one of the sentries, he's gonna lose every single one of his Zealots. And right now, only the Ravagers are not dying. And this is a lot of Ravagers. Immortals do not deal bonus damage to those. And right now, Kingslayer loses a little bit too much of his own army. He needs those Zealots back. He makes 6 more, of course, those are very well expendable compared to the Immortals, but just don't want to lose them for free. Very good buys, and one Immortal is gonna eat the whole of it. Chargelot's trying to tank for all of those roaches, and Ravager shots and the +1 ground upgrades are kicking. He's kicking in for Kingslayer, who's able to eventually shoot this push away. The game is not over yet, but Kingslayer is gonna have +2 ground weapons at the ready soon. It means those Immortals averagely deal 2 million damage to roaches, basically. And he has 3 Immortals out of War Prism. He's producing Archons as well. 6-eyed Templars are gonna be 3 Archons very, very soon. Move them. Make them Archons. Yes, please. Kingslayer definitely moving forward. He probably wants to drop something in the main of Damrud as well. While he's actually, I don't think he can afford to split his army. He's trying to move into a choke to fight those roaches, but not a very good idea. Consider how many Ravagers are out for the Zerg player. But more Zealots getting to the side, preparing the flank, and sending the War Prism ahead. Just make some more units. Damrud is preparing his flank as well, but Kingslayer just wants to have more Archons out. He has the tech, he has the upgrades, he has everything he needs to kill his opponent at the moment. 2 more Archons and 4 Zealots are gonna be dropped into the main. The real attack is this one. Those Queens are eventually going to fall. Big surround coming for Damrud. The army of Kingslayer is very vulnerable to these many roaches and Ravagers, but the Immortals are not falling down, and neither are the Archons, while everything for Damrud is crumbling to bits. The War Prism is alive. Damrud pulls the GG, and Kingslayer advances to the semi-finals. Sometimes all it takes is a moment for these Protoss units to melt down a Zerg army, and this has been the case in this game. A little bit too eager probably to get something done. Damrud pushed into a very powerful army. Very good upgrade lead for Kingslayer instead, that did not panic after a little bit of a misplay in the early game, and still decided to get those upgrades out without getting a third base and preparing for an all-in from his opponent. And it actually paid off. Kingslayer being able to win the 3 games that were not insanely aggressive cheeses, basically. So I feel like he probably deserved to win this series, but I also feel like Damrud did not play this series at the top of his possibilities. And we can probably see him in the next season of Alpha X Apprentice, but right now Kingslayer advances to the semifinals and is gonna meet last surprise in there. Very powerful Terran player. So we're gonna see how he's gonna handle this very powerful teammate. But let's get ready for the other best of 5 of today. It's gonna be Mage versus Blisk, Zerg versus Protoss once again. We're gonna have some very crazy games, I think. Blisk, very aggressive Zerg player, and Mage, a very aggressive Protoss player. So let's see what is gonna happen in the first map of this best of 5 series, World of Sleep. Of course, Mage is the favorite for winning this game. Blisk coming into the tournament as the lowest MMR player, still being able to show us some crazy aggressive builds, like getting a few maps here and there, not quite being able to get anything more than a 4th place in his group stage, but he can still show us something in the Code A playoffs. And let's see if he's able to take Mage out. That is instead probably alongside Damrud. Well, Damrud now is out, he's eliminated, and probably Mage, also having given a walkover in the first week, stands right now as the player who's probably going to win the whole Code A playoffs. And here he is in the bottom left hand corner. Hailing from China is the Red Protoss. It is Blisk. Spawning instead top right hand corner, already going for an extractor trick. Who knows if he's going for something cheesy. It is Blisk. Well, Blisk is just going for a 15 hatch, but is this a link rush? I don't think so. Something that has been really popular is the laser build, or cats build, that basically consists of sending 4 drones over here to mine those minerals out and then just send a lot of lanes inside. But most players, Protoss players, are going to place a 3rd pylon over here to just check if anything is off on that side of the map. And I think it's what we're going to see from Mage very soon as well. Meanwhile, the Protoss player is sending a probe out to get some scouting information. One more extractor trick for Blisk, who doesn't really like to get overloads out. And I don't know if this is not aggression by Blisk. I mean, his overload is very late, his spawning pool, well, I think we're about to know as soon as his overload is out. Is he gonna make more drones? Yes, he is. So I don't think we're gonna see a lot of lanes he's filling out, probably just the average 6 lanes or so to try and deal some damage. 2 lanes, 1 queen over here, and 2 lanes, 1 queen are gonna be produced here very soon. Blisk will be broke after his opener, just to get a little bit of gas. Actually pulls all the drones off gas. Oh god, this is a link rush. Blisk wants to rush Mage at the moment, but Mage very well prepared, already has the shield battery out, and I think this is a full wall of this shield battery is gonna complete the wall for Mage. So Blisk is gonna be producing a ton of links for nothing. Well, if he can break through, I'd say it's gonna be worse, but it isn't. Mage heavily placing his pylon over here to actually avoid the laser build. And right now, Blisk is trying to find out if that's the case. He sees this pylon and he's probably going to stop committing into this link rush. Or maybe it is not. He's sending a lot of drones through the map. I'm not too sure what is gonna happen now, but Blisk is trying to distract his opponent. Mage right now placing the robot over there to block his side of the path, but the drones are still going there to mine. And right now, Bliss wasting a lot of his links over here to just try to bring down the cybernetics core. Mage has 2 adepts, but right now the wall is open. No probe inside to complete the wall off, and the links stream inside. Mage finds himself a very good choke point on which he can fight those links. The wall is complete, but some probes are gonna be pulled. The links of Bliss that has find a way inside the face of his opponent. His shield battery is helping a lot, but I don't see those probes surviving for a lot longer. One falls down, the other actually survives. But right now the cybernetics core is under attack, the shield batteries are out of juice, and Bliss is just keep on making those links. The cybernetics core is down. Eventually Mage is gonna be able to show away those links. Place the second cybernetics core to replace the one that has fallen down as his immortal production starting, but this pylon is exposed and it's gonna go down wasted. Chrono Boost, his Stalker is gonna go down as well. The wall is open and right now the lanes are trying to shark for some drop kills. Bliss still behind in workers, not gonna be for a lot longer though. 6 probes falling down and Bliss has done an astounding amount of damage. He just doesn't stop with the aggression, and he should probably stop. He should be content with the amount of aggression he has pulled off. He should start mining gas back again. He's making 8 drones right now. The whole in is over. He has dealt enough damage to place himself in an advantageous spot, but right now I don't think that Mick wants to sit in his base idle. He has a lot of gas at the ready. He could very well be doing some crazy damage to his opponent. Right now the pylon is exposed once again, and Bliss tries to go for it before deciding to back away. He can't stop that immortal from being produced, and the road into the main is walled off again as well. It looks like things have calmed down at the moment. So Bliss, dealing a lot of damage, deciding to transition into Ro8. I don't see Lair out yet, but the third base being dropped. Oh, I just called it. A third base is also in production for our third player. And I'm not too sure, but I smell Nidus, guys. Evo Chamber being placed as well by Bliss. He's probably gonna try to get his +1 ranged upgrades, but he still has a very good OV spread to the edges of the base of Mage. And Bliss is the kind of player who will follow up a Link Rush with a Nidus room. He's just that kind of guy. 6 bridges in production. I don't see any drones in the third base, and that's already a big call for the Protoss player, who's gonna see a lot of roaches out very soon. Painting has been dropped by Bliss, who's instead deciding to go for the very powerful Roach Link Bane Ravager army to stop instead the push coming from Mage. Probably was going to go for an Nidus, but he just now decides to go for his most defensive option. He needs those Banelings out very soon, but well, there are not a lot of units that are susceptible to things right now, but those Ravagers are gonna be the key to defeating the army of Mage. Just a little bit too strong it looks like at the moment. Bliss can still afford some losses. He still has a lot of links in production. He couldn't actually set up a counter-attack. He's gonna lose this archery, but the real problem is this Warp Prism still being alive. This archery is going to fall down, but a lot of links are about to go out. There is not a lot of stuff they can deal with links at the moment, but killing them one after the other. Good snipe on top of the Warp Prism. It looks like this with defender's advantage could be a ult. Those Ravagers have trapped, and all the Ravagers are falling down for Bliss. 6 more roaches in production, 1 more surrounded with the lings, just trying to deal as much damage as possible to the army of mage, and suddenly the Protoss player is in a very strong position, not overcommitting into the natural of Blisk. Good choice as well. I don't think actually he's committing into the natural. Those Banelings are gonna find themselves a little bit too much in the open, not a very good place to start those Banelings out. But roaches and queens are hard to break. The army of mage is recalled back home, and the Protoss player overextended a little bit after dealing a crazy amount of damage to Blisk. But right now, even on workers, even on bases, the tech is there for a mage, so I feel like probably the Protoss player is in a better spot. The Azure player who is just placed is a third archery after losing one. Dark Shrine being dropped as well by mage. This is one crazy game. Second robot out as well for mage. It doesn't really look like he wants to get a third Nexus out anytime soon. He wants to close the deal, but Blisk's army is quite powerful. 11 drones being squeezed out by the third player who's showing us Chief and Macro at the same time. But can he win a micro battle with someone as strong in that as Mage? This War Prism juggling a little bit to get some damage done, maybe snipe a Painling, snipe a Ravager, snipe everything that he can get. But what is inside this thing? Okay, 2 Stalkers and a Removal. We drop. Right now, I don't see anything coming from Blisk though to actually deal with a powerful push coming from Mage. Our third player not really scouting the natural of his opponent. I don't think he actually knows how much stuff has been dropped by his opponent. Look at this. Right now, he's just trying to deal with these War Prism harass. The War Prism gets found, but there is only one Ravager, so no snipe on that. And now the Dark Templars are out. Overseer immediately moved in the main of... Sorry, not in main actually, but it was immediately moved. No burrow to save those drones as well, and look at how much stuff it is falling down for police. 10 drones gone down at the moment. This Dark Templar finding himself another comfy spot to just deal more damage. This queen is gonna fall. You can't go anywhere. But right now, Overseer come to save the day. But this one in the main. Oh, the queen. Oh gosh, good transfuse. But right now, this Dark Templar is definitely going down. But not without putting up a little bit more of a fight. 19 workers went down for Blisk. And Mage, once again, finds himself in a mineral income advantage. Even though he's 2 workers behind and 1 base behind. Mage also moving out with a very powerful army, a lot of zealots, a lot of immortals, and the possibility to move a lot of Archons, and that's what he wants to do. 3 Archons are going to join the fight for Mage. Right now, Blisk morphing Banelings in quite a weird position. He doesn't have Baneling speed, does he? He doesn't have Baneling speed, and finding out a very good engagement will be a hard task for a Zerg player. Mage walks on top of the ramp. Blisk is not really spreading his units east. Meanwhile, Mage keep on sending Dark Templars to deal some more damage, and meanwhile behind in his base, I really love this. He places a third Nexus. Blisk already going for the counter. I really like this as well. But Mage has his natural completely walled off and has a lot of damage being dealt to the natural of Blisk in the means of Dark Templars. The army of Mage gets actually surrounded, but those things are not gonna stay alive for a lot longer to the shots of those Archons, and those Banelings are slow Banelings. They're not getting connections. Very good vibes win on top of the Immortals, but right now the army of Blisk is on the run. Archons are not falling down. Anything is falling down for Mage right now. More bars are gonna connect with those immortals, but too much stuff is dying for Bliss at the moment. Mage's units are very bruised, but Bliss units are no more. Mage is completely all in. He's not even producing anything anymore. He's killing drone after drone. Those 3 Ravagers just won't fall. The Lynx showing the fray what Prism Micro is gonna be, but it's gonna save those immortals for a lot longer, and those things just won't die. The name is not at random. Immortals are not dying for Mage, and they are killing everything. Just look at the kills of those. 15 kills, 20 kills, 11 kills, 12 kills. Those things have been the kills of this game, and Bliss crumbles after a very good game against Mage. What a game indeed. Like after 40 minutes, finally Mage was able to break through Bliss defenses, and it's actually very curious. Oh gosh, my game is about to crash. Or is it not? What is really curious about this game is Bliss refusing to go for a follow-up aggression after having dealt so much damage. Like he thought, okay, I dealt enough damage, let me just sit back. And the blow that actually Mage dealt to him afterwards was strong enough to place the Protoss player slightly ahead. And well, something that most players actually say is, when you all in, don't forget to all in. And I think that Bliss all in and then forgot to all in, while Mage actually didn't. After he the first all in, he overcommitted a little bit as well, otherwise his victory would have been more fluid. But after committing for that all in, he committed again into another all in while placing a third Nexus behind as well. And having that War Prism alive for such a long time has allowed him to macro those Immortals, keeping them alive, sneaking some more, squeezing some more Zealots in as well, and just getting a very powerful army even without very good upgrades, and just getting the victory like that. But Bliss, aggressive opponent, someone who just doesn't like to go for long games. So let's see what he has prepared for us in game number 2 on Acropolis. Not an easy map to choose on. Also, there is almost a 500 difference between those two players, so I actually expect from Bliss going into something more aggressive. You can't actually, I don't think he thinks he can actually win a normal macro game against such a powerful opponent as Mage is. At least MMR wise, is very, very better than Bliss. Of course, in this game, those two guys looked very closer than the numbers actually say, but well, MMR most often is just a number. Then it comes to preparation, to just being trained to fight some kind of builds. But in a long macro game, I give the edge to Mage, just for being a slightly better player overall. But let's see if this is gonna be a long game, or if Bliss is able to tie up the score with one of his aggressive builds, spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Acropolis. It is the Red Protoss Mage. Spawning instead in the top left hand corner is the blue Zerg. It is Bliss. And well, just a standard 17 touch. Oh, what? Oh no, this is not a 17 touch. Well, it actually is a 17 touch, but is it a notch block delayed by Bliss? It's gonna delay his spawning pool by a little bit, just to be able to actually block the Nexus for Mage and have his links stream inside and maybe deal some damage to that pylon. But it looks like his drone was a little bit too late. Mage comfortably places his Nexus down, and I don't think Beast wants to place an archer over there. Does he though? Well, he cannot do it now. His spawning pool is in place, and it looks like Blisk decided to go for the most standard play. It doesn't look like he wants to go for an archery anytime soon, unless he wants to place one like over here like Bly does. But he actually has a third arch on the way before his spawning pool is even done. So he's gonna actually rush Larva, or is he going to rush economy? Like, the choice of getting this is of course because he prepared to go for a hatch block in his opponent's natural, but getting a third base that early could just mean either you want to squeeze in a lot of drones faster and prepare for an all-in with the 3 base larva at the ready, or either you just want to snowball into a faster tech, faster economy while just trying to get more drones as possible. And knowing how Blisk is probably going to approach to this series, I think he's going for the all-in path instead of going actually for a tech rush. He already has 6 links out. Mage decided to go for Stargate play, and he's still not balling off over here, but he has a pylon in place to hold any amount of link rushes after he has his target out. It looks like Blisk is actually droning it out very quickly as foreseen. Right now Blisk also getting a scout in the main of Mage. He's gonna see the Oracle ready to pop out of that Stargate, and the Overload goes down. It's a little bit of a supply block, not something you really want to have at this stage, but he's probably going to place all of his distractors very soon. I don't see like... okay, he's actually starting to drone up his third base as well. He's gonna place the Spore Crawlers as well, and he's not getting gas yet. He's gonna have a lair ready very soon. Oh, actually he's going to get gas right now. Double gas, a lair probably going to be dropped soon. And let's see what is gonna be the tech. Meanwhile, Mage, double Stargate play. So this is either going to be a lot of Oracles, either going to be a lot of Phoenixes. I don't think he's going Void Praise. But well, Chinese players often go for some very off builds, so I will not be surprised to see a mass Oracle build right here. The second one is in production. I don't see a Phoenix out yet to deny scouting, but Blisk doesn't have a lot of Warlords on the map anyway. Still getting a lot of drones out to fill up those gases and those minerals, and the Roach Warren is being placed, so I don't think this is going to be either Nidus or Spire play. I just think he wants to get a lot of stuff out and get damage done with Roaches. Actually, Billy Nest being dropped, Lair almost done, so it's gonna be a Roach, Link, Ravager, Bane, push for the Zerg player very soon. He is still not making more drones over here. He has a 5 gases, and he's actually making more drones, but Mage is just massing a lot of Oracles. And Blisk's army doesn't shoot up. So Blisk actually decided to go for a more conservative play. He's making a lot of overloads right now. He's getting his defensive Roaches, but his third base is almost saturated. Unless he wants to drop a 4th base soon, I'd say he wants to max out on Roaches. But without a proper scouting, 5 Oracles out, 2 more Void Rays in production, 1 more Stargate, Mage has the killer move in this game. And Blisk didn't really scout for it. Right now, those 5 oracles are gonna blast down that queen. This one spore quarter is not staying up for a lot longer, and a lot of drones are actually falling down. Oh god, this game has not been played with game art. This one spore quarter is going to fall as well. Not a single oracle fell at the moment. Look at how many drones are dying. Leaf moving through the map in desperation, but he's gonna find 2 void rays at the ready for these many roaches. Oracles are out of energy, they go back home. This base is not gonna stand for a lot longer. One roach is gonna be lifted, but those void rays are not gonna take it easy on those roaches. Oracle and energy back again, and these roaches will just be chased back into the main of Blisk after how many drones have died? I think about 20. 34 drones have been killed by Mage this game. 34. Right now, Blisk committing fully into this, but 5 oracles, 4 void rays at the ready. He cannot break through Blade Mage's defenses. He can try as much as he wants. He's gonna find actually 7 void rays out soon. And look at how much damage those things do to roaches. Those things are just rumbling down. 27 workers to 60. Blaze calls the GG, and Mage is at match point in this best of 5 series. What a weird build by Mage. And actually going for that early third dodge without having a proper plan behind. Not the best play I've seen out of Blisk, that's for sure. We wanted to go for that Nexus block. That is a very powerful option, build made popular by Bly. But at the same time, not being able to squeeze out that drone in time into the natural of his opponent, and not actually being on top of his scouting has proven this game to be quite a one-sided defeat for the other player that really has to bring something up to the game in map number 3 to try and tie up the score and maybe get to a next match and see if he's gonna be able to advance to the semifinals, or if Mage, the Chinese Protoss, is instead going to get the victory in this round of 8 after a victory in game 2 actually. Oh, the game is taking a little bit longer than I actually expected. But here we are back again, ready to get into game number 3. I'm gonna tell you the map real soon, and remember to tune in tomorrow at 8 p.m. CET for the Code S semi-finals. We're gonna have Oscar versus Tokon and Exo Striker versus oh gosh, I don't actually remember. I think it's a PvP though. I'm sorry. Anyway, let's get ready. Blisk versus Mage. Game number 3. The map is going to be Ephemeron. So, once again, we have a pretty short map here. So, it's totally legit to expect actually some aggression coming from our third player. Let's see if this is the case or not. He's at match point. He is in the top left-hand corner of Ephemeron, and he is the red Protoss. Make some noise for Mage. Pylon scouting this time? Oh, instead, in the bottom right-hand corner, the Blues are 2 points behind in this best of 5 series. His tournament life is on the line over here. It is Blisk. Going for a gateway expand, scouting Blisk, not getting any of his tricks out yet. He's just gonna go for a standard 16 hatch, 18 instructor, 17 bull probably. Mage gonna scout, nothing too off is coming out of his opponent yet. Actually he gets his 16 hatch out, 16 bull out. Oh gosh, this is a forge. Oh no. Mage, what do you have in mind? Not sending a second probe out though. So this is... well, cannon rushes on Ephemeron are very strong, especially after what we saw out of Showdown in BlizzCon. And right now Blisk pulling a little bit too many drones into this. Mage completing his wall up, he's gonna have his pylon ready to power up his photon cannon. 2 pylons get actually cancelled. This should be the time in which Blisk could have used his drones to actually deny this base. And right here, Mage places robotics facility. This game is getting crazier by the minute. This drone is probably going to try to get a proxy hatch into the main of Mage. But right now, Blisk has his... oh gosh, got stolen by Mage. This is a huge hit by the Protoss player to the economy of Blisk. Right now, I don't know if Mage actually saw this drone out, but Warpgate hasn't started yet. His archery is gonna be starting soon over here. Here it is. The Assimilator is going down very easily. There is Spinecrawler out, a second one in production. But Spinecrawler are not very good against Immortals, especially with all of these shield batteries in place. Right now, Spinecrawler moves a little bit too forward. You have to take care of that pylon first before trying to attack on the low ground. Roaches are out as well. Ravagers will be out soon as Blisk can actually take that base. But the reaction of the third player is actually very good. This one Immortal is of course going to be a huge problem. But one Spinecrawler falls down, the Immortal is out of shields, but he charges them at the shield battery. He's of course going to take extra damage by the Spinecrawler, but he's gonna deal extra damage as well. One more swing is of course needed, and here it comes out. Those roaches are trying to get on top of the Immortal, but this is not work out free. You cannot place that lane behind the Immortal and avoid it from getting away. The hatch in the main of Mage is instead almost done. Those 2 Immortals powerhousing through those queens. Lanes are out to try and get us around, but the cannons are helping those Immortals get out. 3 shield batteries are out. Actually, just 1 shield battery is out of juice. Those Ravagers trying to make it rain on top of the Immortals. Once this War Prism is out, it's gonna become even harder for Blisk to micro against this. Those 2 roaches are out. They're gonna deal a lot of damage to Mage's economy. But if Blisk is going to be able to survive, I don't think he is. A lot of lanes are out trying to find the surround on top of the Immortals. The drones are going to be pulled as well. Meanwhile, there is nothing back home for Mage. Those roaches have an easy life killing every single probe for Mage that just wants to place an axis over there and start mining here probably. He saves all of his probes. Those roaches are basically that way right now. Very good call by Mage that's still slashing at this phase with those Immortals dealing a lot of damage. He's not paying attention. He loses one immortal. Big mistake by Mage. He also recalls one immortal back home to deal with those roaches. Probes can go back into mining, but 17 workers are still a lot. The amount of damage Blizz has dealt is not enough. It doesn't look like Mage is paying attention. Once again, one more immortal is going to fall. Actually, big mistake by Mage. He loses 2 immortals to just Lings. And those roaches are definitely not going to cut it against this immortal. They are just waiting for those Lings to be out and maybe close the deal. 6 Lings can of course kill one immortal, but right now those Lings are just trying to get on top of the immortals on the other side of the map. But is there something back home to actually deal with this one immortal? The Warp Prism is out. 6, 7. How many shield batteries is that? Lings trying to stream in, the wall is closed, one adept is in production, and right now the main issue for Blizz is pulling this back home. The Warp Prism was not paying attention, but just barely manages to pull up this one immortal. Very good. Oh gosh, if he just had one more Ravager alive, he could have killed the Warp Prism, and suddenly he would have looked in a perfect spot. His shield battery is gonna keep this cannon alive. I don't think that Blizz's choice to just try to kill a cybernetic squirrel was a very good one. This cannon is not falling down. Meanwhile, his immortal isn't falling down as well. Too much shields over there. You cannot fight the immortal on top of that ramp. Queen's trying to do that best return. This Michael, this one Ling is sneaking forward, trying to get a little bit of a finisher on top of the immortal. But right now the immortal can just go back and forth from shield batteries. This one Spore Solar, the key for avoiding the Warp Prism getting into play. But the Warp Prism is down, killed by Queens, as well as the Spore Solar. A waste of minerals for Blizz. It's not very rich at the moment. He has his 3 Ravagers out to try and snipe the actually those Lings are going to eventually be able to kill the immortal and get some more damage into the main of Mage. But there is no way you can break this, right? I don't think Blizz has had what it takes to break this. Warp Prism Micro is basically perfect right now, just avoiding the shots of those. Oh, just barely missing the shots on the cannons. Warp Prism is gonna keep vision to the. Oh gosh, E1 Immortal was buried out of shield, but 3 Ravagers and 2 Queens have fallen in this attempt of getting damage done to the proxy. The Extractor is gonna fall as well, and this is gonna be a huge hit. 3 Johns have fallen. Those Lings in the main of Mage have been able to kill 5 Ro8. But Mage is still very much ahead in workers. He has one more immortal in production, and he just roaches. You cannot break this. Blizz calls the GG, and Mage advances to the semi-finals, of Code A playoffs. And that has been all for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed watching those games. Of course, we're gonna be back for more StarCraft just tomorrow at 8 PM CST for Code S playoffs. So the toughest guys out of the tournament playing in the semi-finals, and we're gonna see who's gonna get into the finals and even get the crown next week for this first season of Alpha X Apprentice. Right now, guys, I've been Apprentice, I've been your caster for today, and I just want to leave you in very good hands for the next couple hours, minutes, I don't know, whatever you want, guys. Let me check something real quick. So guys, I'll leave you in the hands of Vindicta. So, I don't know if you know about him. He's Alpha X player, his Terran is very good, he plays in WCS, he has been in Scarlet, he has a lot of nukes.